world made from flesh and bones. Once, in a time long forgotten, there was a world unlike any other. This was not a world of rock and water, of trees and wind. No, this was a world made from flesh and bones. The ground beneath the feet of those who walked it was soft, warm, and alive. It rose and fell with slow, steady breaths, as if the whole earth itself was sleeping. The hills were not made of stone but of great ribs, curved like the arches of ancient temples. The rivers flowed not with water, but with thick, dark blood, winding through valleys of muscle and sinew. No one knew how this world came to be. Some said it was the body of a fallen giant, so vast that its remains became the land. Others whispered that it was a living creature, still dreaming, and that one day it would wake. And then the world would end. A young girl named Lira lived in this strange place. She was small and curious, with dark eyes that always searched for answers. Her village was built upon the palm of a great hand, its fingers curled into sheltering wall. The people there lived simple lives, hunting the slow, fleshy beasts that wandered the plains and drinking from the sweet veins that ran beneath the ground. But Lira was different. She wanted to know more. One evening, as the sky, which was not a sky at all but the inside of a vast pulsing membrane, glowed with a dim red light, Lira asked her grandmother, "Where does the world end?" The old woman smiled, but her eyes were sad. "No one knows, child. Those who go too far never return." Lira could not accept that. The next morning she packed a small bag with dried meat from the village's last hunt, and a hollow bone filled with water. She kissed her grandmother goodbye and set off toward the horizon. For days she walked. The land changed as she traveled. The ground became rougher, covered in patches of coarse hair like the hide of some great beast. The air smelled of salt and iron. Sometimes she felt a distant shudder, as if something deep below was stirring. Then, one night, she saw them. Watchers. They stood at the edge of a vast plain, tall and thin, their bodies wrapped in strips of dried flesh like bandages. Their faces had no eyes, only smooth skin stretched over bone. They did not speak, but Lira felt their voices in her mind. She should not be here. Lira stood her ground. "I want to see where the world ends." The watchers stirred. One of them reached out a long, skeletal hand and pointed into the distance. There, beyond the plain, was a wall so high it touched the sky. It was not made of stone or metal. It was a wall of teeth. Lira's breath caught in her throat. The teeth were enormous, each one taller than the tallest tree. They curved inward, as if the world itself was inside a mouth. And then she understood. This was no giant. This was no beast. This was something older, something hungrier. The world was not just made of flesh and bones. It was alive. And it was waiting. The watchers spoke again. "Don't go back before it wakes." Lira turned and ran. She ran until her legs burned, until the teeth were far behind her. When she finally returned to her village, she said nothing of what she had seen. But sometimes at night, when the ground trembled beneath her, she wondered, how long before the dreaming ended, and what would happen then? The people of the village lived on, unknowing. They laughed, they loved, they told stories by the fire. But Lira never forgot. She kept her secret close, watching the horizon, waiting for the day the world would open its eyes. And when that day came, she would be ready.